Hi, everybody. Hopefully, you guys are all having a good day without me. What we're going to do before this test is I'm going to take you through some of our slides just to review like we normally would before a test. Now, please remember, because I'm not there today, if you have any questions on the test, next class, I will unsubmit the test and let everybody go back and look at their test so that they could ask me questions. So you will have a chance to ask me questions with your test there. Let's go through this like we normally would. So remember on today's test, you're going to have to do the following things. Remember, first, you're going to have to graph an inequality on a number line, okay? Meaning if you have a number line with a problem like x is less than 3, or maybe if you get x is less than or equal to 3, you'll have to graph this on a number line. So if this was my number line and I had my numbers here, remember the only difference between these two is that this problem right here does not have a line under it on its inequality symbol. It just says x is less than 3. So this one we get an open circle going left. And this one down here, x is less than or equal to 3, we get a closed circle because that's the line underneath of it. And I will draw it to the left. So you need to know how to graph these on a number line. You need to know how to solve one-step inequalities. So if I give you a problem like 3x is less than or equal to 9, you need to know that you should put your bar down, and to cancel out this multiplying, you should divide. You'll get x is less than or equal to 3. We'll also practice doing two-step inequalities. Now, you may be noticing I'm putting a negative in this one. All right. So if I did this problem, I'm going to subtract 3 first. And what I was saying about this negative here is that if I cancel this out, I'm going to get negative 2x is less than or equal to 10. Watch what I'm going to be doing here. I'm dividing both sides by a negative. So remember in class, I said when we do that, when we divide both sides by a negative, first you solve your problem and get your answer, x is in negative 5. But remember, I said you also need to flip this inequality symbol. So because I multiplied both sides by a negative, my inequality would flip. We're also going to look at a word problem and help us practice for that for this test. All right, so please remember, we have some terms you need to remember. So first it says is less than or fewer than. So remember, this is our less than symbol. Next it says is greater than, is more than, exceeds. That is our greater than sign. Then we have is less than or equal to. So because it says or equal to, that's when you put the line underneath of it. And finally, the last one is greater than or equal to. Please remember on today's test, when you are asked to pick your graph, please remember, if there is a line underneath of your inequality symbol, that means you get a filled in circle. If there is no line like this one, we have less than and greater than, that gets our open circle. So please make sure you remember that. So you may have a problem like this today, and you'll get x is greater than 4. So when we go through and do this, remember the first thing you got to do is whatever your answer is, you're going to go to that number. So I'm going to go to 4. And I got to ask myself, will this be an open or a closed circle? So I'm going to put an open circle on this problem. Next, I got to figure out, am I going to go to the right or am I going to go to the left? Now, I taught you that there's two ways to think about this. You can first read the sentence, the inequality, and figure out what it's saying to you. So this inequality says x is greater than 4. So that means, where are the numbers greater than 4? They are to the right. So I could draw an arrow to the right because that's where all the numbers bigger than 4 are. Another way to think about this is that if your x is on the left side, like ours is, you could treat this inequality symbol right there like an arrow. Oops. And if my inequality symbol looks like that, that means it's pointing to the right. So I would draw my arrow going right. Now remember, that trick only works if your variable is on the left side. So if I look at this one, my variable is not on the left side. So realize if you had a problem like this, the first thing you would have to do is rewrite it with x on the left and 4 on the right. Then you need to look. All right, originally my inequality was pointing at x and the mouth was facing 4. So when I rewrite it, I need to make sure it does the same thing. And then once you've rewritten it, you could go ahead and graph it. Let's look at how we'd solve some of these problems. Today on the test, like I said, you're going to get multiple one-step equations. Please remember when we're doing this, we are still following SAD neg. So when you do this, you need to look, is there any subtracting or addition? No, there's not. Is there any division or multiplication? Here there is. This is x divided by 4. So your job would be to multiply 4 on both sides. And remember, the whole reason we're doing that is to cancel out that 4 there. So if I did that, I would cancel out the 4, and I would be able to bring down just my x. Then on the right side, I could do 8 plus 4, and I would get 32. And I'd have my answer. X is greater than 32. You're also going to have to deal with two-step equation problems. So once again, remember, we're using SAD neg. Remember, that's just our order of operations backwards, because we're solving these backwards. So first, you'd have to look at this and ask yourself, which side is my variable on? My variable is on my left side. So that is the side you're going to look at. And remember, you want to try to cancel out these numbers over there. To cancel out those numbers, you need to first use SAD neg. So first you need to say, all right, is there any subtracting or adding? Yeah, they're adding 2. So to cancel out adding 2, we must do the opposite. We'll subtract 2. And I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. If I subtracted 2 on both sides, all right, the plus 2 minus 2, they're gone. The whole reason I did that was to cancel that out. So that is gone. I'll bring down 5n. On this side, 27 minus 2 is 25. So I have 5n is less than 25 now. My next step is to cancel out that 5 times n. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to divide by 5. If you do that, you're going to get n is less than 5 as your final answer. The next problem we're going to look at deals with one of those problems where you have a negative that you're going to have to multiply to both sides or divide to both sides. So let's look at how we'd solve this. Once again, you put your bar down. Remember, whatever we do to one side, we're going to do the other. My variable is on the left side, so I'm going to try to cancel out all the numbers on my left side but y, meaning I need to cancel out this negative 2. The only way to cancel out negative 2 times y is to divide. So because right now I'm dividing both sides by a negative, what that means is that my inequality symbol flips. And you need to flip your inequality symbol. And then you can go and solve the rest normally. The 2's cancel out, and down comes y. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. We're going to look at one more problem together before you take your test. On this test, you're going to have multiple word problems, and this is kind of built like one of them. So please remember when you do these problems, first I want you to read it. Then you need to find the variable in the inequality, the inequality, and then go build the rest of your equation. So first, let's read it. Tyler earns $120 a week selling shoes, plus a commission for $5 of each pair of shoes he sells. How many pairs of shoes must he sell to make a minimum of $200 a week? So first, to find your variable, ask yourself, what number are they looking for? They're looking for the numbers of shoes. So I know shoes, S, will be my variable. Then find your inequality. The inequality is right here. It says a minimum of $200 a week. So if it's a minimum of $200, that means that you need to make at least more than or equal to $200. If someone says, I need you to make a minimum of $200, that means 200 is the lowest amount you can make. You want to make greater than or equal to 200. And now that you got your inequality, you could build the rest of your problem. To do that, what I recommend you do is read the problem, and as you come across mathematical terms, write them down. So as an example, it says, I earn $120. So that's a number, so I'm going to write it down. A week selling shoes. Then it says plus. So plus means add. I'm going to add. And I'm going to add $5 for each pair of shoes. So I have my $5, and I told you that each means to multiply, and then when you multiply the number of shoes, S. So now that I have 120 plus 5 times S, I'll rewrite it nice and neat. 120 plus 5S. And now I'm ready to solve. So we're going to solve these just like the other ones. Remember, you put your bar down, and you're going to subtract 120 on both sides. After you subtract 120 on both sides, on the left side it cancels out, and you're left with 5S. On the right side, you are left with 80. Your final step, divide by 5. And you get your final answer of S is equal to, and if we did 80 divided by 5, I want to say that is 18. Let me double check that. My calculator. And 80 divided by 5 is 16. I was incorrect. Am I? Let me double check that. 80 divided by 5. Yeah, it is 16. So always double check. So I'm going to get S is greater than or equal to 16 as our final answer. So Tyler would have to sell 16 or more shoes. All right, good luck on the rest of this test. Your sub today will tell you where to go. They're going to show you this slide in a second as well. Please make sure you go to your inequalities folder and then open up the summative S-inequalities. Like I said, if you have any questions on this, our next class, when I am back, I will give us about 15 minutes to open these tests back up and to talk about the test and what any questions you may have. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you all when I get back next week.